for an exhibitor even today. Here we meet collectors collecting only stamps, and they collect a topic. That is what we call topical philately, only stamps. Some of them uses an album, or they make just put them in a box maybe. That is a first generation topical philately collection. But when the collector takes a second step and still only collect the stamps from a topical perspective, but maybe arrange them on his or her own pages, that is a second generation. At least the exhibitor makes something, the collector makes something more of it. That is a second generation. And then we have a 2.5 generation topical collection, or maybe even an exhibit. That is when the collector not only look for the stamps, but also try to find other philatelic items, markings, postal stationery maybe as well. And that is a half step taken in the generations. But still it is only topical. Every item depicts, in my case, a sailing ship, or in another case a fish, or maybe a car, or something else. The main step is taken when we come to the third generation. That is when a collector begins to think thematically. The collector wants to write a story about something, and a story about something means that not only illustrate this story with, in my case, sailing ships, but also other aspects relating to that theme. And then we switch to thematic philately. So that is what I call in this presentation a third generation thematic exhibit. And when one is getting more and more advanced in studying the philatelic material as a philatelist, one probably also find it very interesting to study, to make philatelic studies in the search for material. So generation 3.5 is when one goes more into detail in the philatelic material and make philatelic studies more deep. The philatelic material is more advanced than in the third generation. And the fourth generation is when you reach the perfect balance, balancing the philatelic side of an exhibit and the thematic side of an exhibit. You have a almost perfect story, and you have a perfect balance in that story with material, and the material is almost perfectly implemented in the thematic story, and you get everything out of what the material actually is. You are able as an exhibitor to define the material you have. And I have realized that when we judge, we study the material all the time, from the beginning to the end, and we are trying to search for how the material is used for the treatment, for the development of the exhibit. And I realized since 2 weeks ago, with help from other experienced judges, that this is not only valid to look at it from the 1920s to today. It is actually as valid to see from collectors starting today and develop their own collecting from today, from only collecting stamps, mixing material. So that's why I changed to call it a biographic step in the progress of all exhibits. And as a judge, I have also realized that it is very much connected with which medal level one reach. If you have a good balance of the material and the thematic concept, but still not going into the detailed philatelic study, you are on generation 3. And if you look up here at the generation 3, not perfectly balanced with philatelic studies, and not perfectly balanced with with a thematic story, you can see that they reach around large silver vermeil medal. This is not an exact science, but in general I find that this is the case. So, material is important from beginning to end when I refer to this generation development. And from generation 3 and onward, the concept is as well important too. In the beginning it is only most focused on the material, but from generation 3 and onward, the material and the concept must go hand in hand, because you can be a very advanced philatelist, knowing a lot about the philatelic side of an exhibit, but if you not are able and successful to implement it to a good thematic story, it doesn't matter that you have good material and you are a good philatelist. You have to switch to be also a good researcher around the topic you are interested in, so to say. And that is very clear. If you look up here at the thematic class and look at the exhibits from large vermeil, gold and large gold, you can easily see that they have a balance of material and story. And if you study in detail what is the difference between large vermeil, gold and large gold, you can see there is a degree of difference in how this balance is handled in practice. Comments? Do you think this is a good way to explain using this progress of generations, or should we find another way? Because, yeah, I leave it to that. Any comments? You think it's